All right, welcome you all back to another episode of MsEllePresents. We are in the garden today, preparing one of our beds for the fall planting. As you can see here, these okra have done all that I could get them to do. They have provided me with quite a few pounds of okra over the course of the season, but they are just past their prime and past their production days. So we're going to go ahead and kick these guys out and get some new plants in here. Later in the video, you will see that I'm going to be putting in some curly kale as well as some cabbages that I got from my local nursery. And I will be planting those in. And in a couple of weeks, I will do an update video because I will also be planting from seed some additional veggies to go in between the rows of kale and cabbages. I will be doing some radishes and some beets. And it's always a good idea to, especially when you're in an urban environment where you're limited on space, to try to get as much bang for your buck and as much of your garden real estate maximized every time you're planting. So I'm just going to go through, clip these okra right at the roots or right at the soil level. I don't pull the plants out, and I try not to pull plants out anytime that I'm cutting or taking the old plants out in any season. And that is to allow those old roots to break down inside the soil. They will provide nutrition for soil organisms like worms, millipedes, pill bugs, etc. And then those little bugs will then provide nutrients for the fall plants. So I have a couple of beds, well, one bed and a half a bed that I'm going to be cleaning out and planting in now. And as you can see, I'm just going through and cutting those back and pulling out some of those weeds. And we'll get right into the planting. I'll be back shortly. Okay, so before we start planting, we need to get the last of the weeds out that have come up. Those plants with the little green, shiny, spade-shaped leaves are perennial violets. They are native here in Georgia, but they are quite a nuisance because they have tubers very similar to like a very small potato or a small ginger that will choke out your other plants. We're going to get those out first and then we'll move on. So I've cleared out the space here under the elderberry. I'm going to cut this elderberry back quite a bit. I'm only going to leave a few of those canes there over the winter. Oop, that way. So that way more light can get into this bed. I've got some cabbages here. And then in this bed, also cleared and weeded this out today. We've got some curly kale along the back, and these are Savoy cabbages along the front. I'm going to be doing some other kale, mixed kale, collard greens from seed that I saved this spring. But in between these rows, I'm going to interplant radishes, beets, and I'll see what else I have. I have a couple different types of radishes, so I'm going to be interplanting those in between the rows here. So I will probably do maybe a row in the middle of beets, and then I'll do maybe the radishes on the outside, because if I do the little small radishes, those won't need a whole lot of root space, and they also won't need a whole lot of leaf space. And it'll give these starts enough time to take off a little bit before those radishes and the beets actually start leafing out too much. And then of course the cabbages are in the front because they are just gonna grow a little bit lower to the ground than the kale, which is gonna kind of go up a bit. Usually my kale gets to about 3 feet tall over the course of the winter. So that's what we've got going on in this bed. Still got quite a few other beds to clean out and get prepped, but it's all a process, right? I also have these cabbages, which are some red cabbage, and the rest of the other two of the white cabbages that are on the side of the house. I put these out here because I planted these about 2 weeks ago in these sort of like vegetable containers that you would see at a farmer's market. Specifically put them in here because I didn't have anywhere specific to put them at the time. And I'll be able to take these and move them into a better area, different area, within the next week or so that they can continue to get as much sun as they need. Or if I'm working in this area, I can move them out and then move them back in. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I really appreciate you taking this time to hang out with me in the garden as we're getting ready for fall planting. My goal is to get back on a regular schedule of uploading my videos and producing and editing them. So we will do it. We're gonna get it done. This is the season for me, and it's the season for you. And I thank you so much for coming along for the journey. Y'all have a great rest of your day wherever you are. And I'll see you next time.